Have you noticed that cigarette packets are no longer what they used to be? I'm sure you have. And it's nice in recent light of the information that the biggest cause of disability amongst children is self-inflicted from mothers ingesting too much alcohol during their pregnancy. It's pretty serious, and it's no surprise that the alcohol companies kicked up such a fuss now that they have to have a silhouette of a pregnant woman on the alcohol. Now, I think that's a really good thing. I think it's a fantastic thing because, again, we're progressing towards something better. And I think that, anyone would agree that accepting the reality that the biggest cause of disability in children is self-inflicted through alcohol. I think that we all need to become more aware, and I think that it's fantastic that cigarettes are no longer able to be advertised, they aren't able to sponsor, their packets have changed. This is a good thing. My question is that, this is the first step in alcohol repackaging. However, alcohol indeed causes more problems in our health system and for personal families, family violence, domestic abuse, things like this. Alcohol is a far bigger cause of problems there. However, I think that just like the cigarette packets, that alcohol should be also branded being as toxic. Now, this is actually what's happening on a physiological level in the body. So when you ingest alcohol, it's the same way that the body, when I did a video about video games, all the body knows when you play a video game is it's dopamine. This is dopamine. The same way you take drugs, dopamine. In the same way that you ingest alcohol, the body registers it as toxic. That is why you get a lot of energy when you drink. It's your body trying to produce sweat to get rid of it. So as soon as you drink alcohol, your body knows that it's toxic. And you have a biological, physiological reaction to actually excrete that alcohol. That's why you can dance all night on alcohol. That's why you get really sweaty. It's kind of, our bodies know that it's toxic, but our marketers don't want you to know that. So it's really nice to see the progress, and we're kind of, becoming more aware now of, the realities of alcohol. And whenever there's domestic abuse, there's generally alcohol. Whenever there's a disabled child being born, it's mostly due to alcohol. Whenever there's a car accident, whenever there's a one-hit punch, it's alcohol. So let's think about rebranding our alcohol and letting us all be completely aware that it is toxic and that it does cause serious problems. We've done it with cigarettes. I think it's time we did it with alcohol and stop pretending. I mean, it's interesting too that, McDonald's doesn't have in its stores, too much eating causes heart disease. Anything that's bad for us, we need to be aware of. And instead of trying to pretend that it's not and make it a happy meal and things like that, I think it's really time that we actually started to, protect ourselves and more importantly, future generations. We don't want the future generations to be, obese. We don't want the future generations to be disabled, right? Right? We don't want future generations suffering domestic abuse and violence at the hand of alcohol, right? We don't want, people dying on the street going out, because, they get one punched hit because of a silly dispute over alcohol and ego. So let's think about changing the way that we view reality. And let's see reality for what it is. And that alcohol is toxic. And alcohol does cause more problems than cigarettes. And yet, it's able to be marketed very, very differently than cigarettes. I think it's time that we improved the education of everyone. And it starts with understanding, what reality is. And the reality is that alcohol is understood by the body as being toxic. Reality is the cause of a lot of misery. And I think that it needs to rebrand. And, we all need to wake up a little bit more. So there you go.